Right, good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully your lunch was good, and any round tables that you had, hopefully you had a good conversation. So I'd like to introduce Susan and Sean from Admiral. Susan's coming up first. So Admiral is a UK financial services company, for those who don't know who Admiral are, and they've been involving their data platform to evolve their capabilities. And earlier this year, you successfully moved to Google, didn't you?
We did.
So I'll hand you over to Susan.
Thank you.
And so just before I forget, at the end, please can you take the survey for the session? We forgot that in the last one.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm Susan Lee. I've worked in Admiral for 21 years. That wasn't where I started my career. I actually started it in a biscuit factory, making jammy dodgers and wagon wheels. I'll say no more about that. I'd like to thank Teradata for allowing us to present today. And my first question is, who is Admiral?
In 1993, Admiral launched with just one brand. The world was very different then. Jurassic Park was the big summer blockbuster. Mobile phones were the size of small bricks, and the Yellow Pages was a staple of every household. Since 1993, Admiral has grown from humble beginnings to being the largest UK motor insurer and has disrupted the market along the way with innovative ideas like Confused.com and Multi-Car. Growth is good, and with growth comes structure, hierarchy, and potentially bureaucracy. But sometimes it can result in a decrease in speed and innovation. We need to ensure that Admiral holds on to its speed of change and innovative culture. So how do we ensure we keep that agility that made us great in the first place? The answer is organisational agility, being able to change direction quickly while remaining in control. With organisational agility, we will be able to anticipate and respond quickly to new challenges and opportunities. We will have the information and insights we need to make better decisions. And we will have a company of empowered individuals that make the decisions and deliver the change Admiral needs. So what does this mean for you? It means that we'll be changing our ways of working and organisational structure when delivering change in technology for the business. This will enable us to better understand and focus on the needs and wants of our customers, to remove organisational constraints and hierarchies, and to empower our people and teams to make the key decisions that Admiral needs. This initiative is not a project. This is the start of a journey to keeping Admiral great, and you are playing a part in helping us shape the future.
That's Admiral, but why Teradata? So Teradata is one of our core systems, but I'm not here to talk technical to you because Sean's coming up and I don't want to steal his thunder. But I do want to tell you about our journey and why data is so important to us. It all starts with our UK strategy. Number one, to always be at our fittest, to complete now and for tomorrow. We call this Admiral 2.0. It's all about identifying, investing, and strengthening the right capabilities that are key to our success. This includes tech, data, artificial intelligence, and the evolution of our ways of working. The proposal has been designed to deliver against Admiral's operation imperatives and Admiral's 2.0 key initiatives. The carefully considered design is forward-thinking and lays the foundation of our transition of Teradata services to the cloud. Number two is to diversify, extend and grow beyond our motor so that we can support and serve more of our customer needs and at the same time be resilient to change in single parts of our business. And the third pillar is about being at the forefront of motor evolution. Motor insurance is big for us, so it's key to be on top of evolutions taking place in this space, so that we're always ahead of our competition and that we are where our customers need us to be. So how did we start this journey? Well, Sean's going to take you through the technical planning. Well, I'm going to tell you what we utilise from Teradata. At the start of our journey to cloud, we strategically decided to leverage the expertise of Teradata Managed Service. This decision was pivotal in ensuring that we had access to a team of seasoned professionals who could provide us with the necessary guidance and support. This not only gave us peace of mind, knowing that our platform was being managed by experts, but it also freed up our internal database administrators, DBAs, to explore other opportunities to acquire new skills. Teradata supplied us with 2 highly experienced DBAs to play a crucial role in supporting our operations. Their extensive knowledge and skills are instrumental in managing our backup and restore scripts as well as data compression tasks. They are adept at handling various security aspects, such as defining roles, managing passwords, and setting up user access rights as per our requirements. In addition to this, they provide support for our database structures, managed space, users, and alerts associated with our Teradata environments. Their involvement in monitoring alerts, queries, and database performance is invaluable. They adhere to industry standards, best practice and guidance, excuse me, but their contribution goes just beyond that. They fully immerse themselves in our organisation, embracing the Admiral culture. They've become an integral part of our team, aligning themselves to our values and cause. And this seamless integration facilitates effective communication and collaboration, further enhancing the value that they bring to our organisation. An additional significant advantage of our partnership with Teradata was that it eliminated the need for Admiral to source DBA functions in-house. In the current climate, where remote working has become the norm, the competition for talent is intensified, often driving up salaries. This could have posed a challenge for us in terms of attracting and retaining skilled DBAs. However, by outsourcing our DBA functions to Teradata, we're able to circumvent this issue. Teradata's managed service provided us with consistent access to the specific skills that we required, irrespective, really, of market conditions. This not only ensured the smooth running of our operations, but also provided us with long-term cost effects. Moreover, this arrangement allowed us to focus our resources on core business functions, while Teradata took care of our database management. The team of experts are always on hand to provide support, ensuring that our systems are running optimally at all times. In essence, our collaboration with Teradata has been instrumental in helping us navigate the challenges posed by the changing work environments. It has ensured that we have steady access to the necessary skills and the experts, allowing us to maintain our focus on delivering exceptional service to our customers. The strategic partnership has indeed been a win-win situation for all of us. And at that point, I would like to hand over to Vicky, who's going to talk to you about our innovation and training platforms for Teradata.
I'm just going to take a preemptive drink with with me because I've had a bit of a tickle, and there's nothing worse is than choking on stage. It's bad form. Right. So I think there's an uncanny resemblance here. I feel like I should have brought an Admiral hat and I'd have just blended in beautifully with that image. The hair, got it down pat. So thanks, Susan. And I think one of the things that really came through in your presentation was that collaboration between our two organisations. And as you said, we're on a journey, and the next part of that journey for us, and the next part of collaboration that we're taking on board is operational excellence and innovation week. So this is the framework for operational excellence. What is it? So it's a range of activities that are designed to fast track business value, the customer getting business value from the Teradata Vantage platform. It's delivered as a repeatable framework so that you can continuously improve and allow ongoing development. And it's both strategic and holistic. So we're not looking at a siloed approach here. This is a holistic approach. And why might a customer want to embark on such a program? Well, to enable that value acceleration, as I've mentioned, but also quite commonly we see customers adopting this program as part of a broader modernization or simplification strategy. So for Admiral specifically, we've heard that they are embarking on Admiral 2.0, their modernization program, and they've also recently migrated to the cloud, which is another trigger for operating in this way. So perfect timing for us to be engaging with Admiral on operational excellence. So how does it work, I hear you say? Oh, how do we make this go? Sorry, just get my... No, it's not a touch screen. Never mind, not to worry. So how does it work? We've broken it into 5 phases, as you can see there. So we start with discovery, and this is very much a sort of series of workshops with the business users from all areas of the business, making sure that we understand what value are you getting from the platform today? What's the business value assessment as of today? We'll also be considering your analytics capability as of today, as well as your business imperatives for the future. So where do you want to be? That's in that discover phase. We then move into the understand phase, and that's very much a series of workshops understanding how do we, what are the use cases that you want to bring to life through this process? So what are the use cases that you might have on a predefined backlog already, or you might be creating those use cases as part of this journey? What are the feasible use cases? So what can be done based on the data that you have today, the access that your colleagues have today? There may be things that are not yet feasible, and I can't help but hear from Shazam this morning, I'm thinking about breaking down some of those traditional thinking and challenging some of those constraints that might be in our minds as we go through this. But you do want to make sure that you've got a list in your backlog that are things that you can actually achieve. So it's balancing up the things that are feasible now and things that you might want to put onto the backlog for future challenging. We then move into test and act. So this is where the rubber really hits the road. You're into your whiteboards and your expansive thinking, taking those use cases and working out which of them you want to take through to a hackathon situation. I'm sure most people in the room have been involved in a hackathon. So we're talking high energy, cross-functional teams, lots of creative ideas coming through. And you're testing and learning, and you're deciding which of those use cases is worth going through to a proof of concept where you're actually really testing, stress testing that use case. Just take a drink. Once you've gone through your proof of concept, you will either have proven the concept that it works accurately as you thought, or you might fail fast. You might decide, actually, this is not a use case that's going to work out for us. We don't have the areas that we thought, we don't have access to the data that we thought we had. It's not in the right state, so actually we want to put that one on the back burner or discount it altogether. Or you'll find that the proof of value, the proof of concept is accurate and you do get what you want. You're getting your bang for buck, so to speak. In which case you'd move on to the industrialization stage through monetize. So this is making reality from the theory. So taking what you've done through the proof of concept in a reasonably theoretical state and putting that into practice for real in the business, actually industrializing that solution. And you will want to make sure that through that stage you are tracking and monitoring the value that you're getting so that it's doing what it said on the tin. And the final stage, which is not cyclical, it's more cyclical than linear, is the continuous improvement. So making sure that as you're running towards the end of your POC and you're establishing whether that concept is valid or not valid, you've got your backlog of items to go back to, you pick up the next one in the list, rinse and repeat, for want of a better phrase. So in a nutshell, This is a framework which is agile. It's outcome focused, so you're value led through this process, and it will allow Admiral to not only identify but to act upon, and that's the really important thing. It will allow them to act upon the opportunities within their data and analytics ecosystem, so that they can support Admiral 2.0 vision and also identify future innovations and developments that they want to put on the backlog for a later date. So in a nutshell, that's operational excellence, and that's kind of the next stage in our journey, and the one that we will be embarking on with Admiral. Now, what I should say as well at this point is any transformation, I would actually put your hands up if you've been involved in a transformation program of any sort in your organization. Yeah, okay, a lot of the room. So I'm pretty sure you'll all know that one of the things that can really make or break any transformation is two things: sponsorship and culture. Two really imperative factors. So again, with the commitment to Admiral 2.0, we know that Admiral's leadership are committed to this. They're committed to driving positive change and driving a culture. And that's been proven already by the work that's coming through Susan's team, one of the data tribes, and the data culture team in Admiral. They've established, which I'll come to talk on next, they've established a cadence of activity, a quarterly innovation week. So once a quarter, move on to the next slide. Once a quarter, they bring together all of the data community across the organization, and this is an Admiral-led initiative. Now, Teradata do similar things with other customers, but we can't take the credit for this. Innovation Week is your baby. But as the name suggests, it's a week-long series of activities designed to engage colleagues, designed to get them thinking a little bit outside the box, thinking about what the future might hold in terms of some of the data innovations that are coming, but also help to upskill and knowledge transfer within the existing community. And for Q3, coming up in a couple of weeks' time, we're delighted to be partnering with Admiral. We've built and designed a couple of sessions where we will do a combination of industry insight as well as knowledge from our Teradata team. And we'll run a couple of sessions with the data community looking at how to get more from Vantage now it's in the cloud, given the recent migration, as well as the forward-looking area of data products and data foundations. So that's what's coming up. I think that sort of concludes the whistle-stop tour that is the work that we're doing in the coming months on both innovation and operational excellence. If you're interested in data culture more broadly as a topic, quick plug, it'd be remiss of me not to do it. This time tomorrow, there is a panel event with a few different customers of Teradata talking about data culture and data culture transformation. So don't miss that. Check it out on your app. But for today and the here and now, I will hand over to Sean, who's going to talk a little bit more about how that migration from on-prem to Google Cloud has gone for Admiral. So thanks, Sean.
Okay. Thank you, Vicky. So hi, everyone. I'm Sean. I've been at Admiral now for 5 years coming up to this December. I've had several roles now in the data tribe at Admiral, but more recently I've been looking after the Teradata estate. So I'm going to be talking to you today about our migration from our on-premise systems. And this quote here on the screen, what new technology does is create new opportunities to do a job that customers want done. And with our collaboration with Teradata, you'll see how true that has become for us. Before I get into the actual migration, I just want to give you a bit of a background of what our Teradata estate looked like and kind of why we needed to do this migration into Vantage. The system we had on-prem was put in around 2020 with the IntelliFlex system. It was fit for purpose at the time, with the backup system being on old tape drives. It was great. It was hitting our SLA priorities, but Admiral grew. We were ingesting more and more data, which meant that there was an increase in size. What that meant is that our ETLs were taking a lot longer. The backups were no longer suitable. They became end of life. We were unable to take consistent backups, which meant that we were put in a significant, had a significant business risk. If we did go into a situation, it might take us a long time to recover those days that we didn't have backups for. Although a risk, it did present us an opportunity to modernize our platform and move into the cloud and align with Admiral's cloud-first strategy. We then reached out to Teradata, who we collaborated with significantly, and they reached out and gave us very detailed documents and a very low-risk migration, with promise of a new production site on the cloud in GCP and a DR site, which was would be able to sync against production. So at the end of the day, pretty much we'd have two production sites that we could fall back on if needed to. So onto the migration day. We started over a weekend. We were lucky in the sense that our ETLs finished around 10 a.m. on the Saturday, where our ETLs on the, it was possible that you could see ETLs finishing around 11:30, 12, so we were a bit lucky on the day that we had a slightly early finish on the ETL. About 18 hours later then, we successfully migrated over 50 terabytes of on-premise data into GCP. We applied our sanity checks on that in the early hours of the morning to ensure we weren't missing any data. The ETL teams were then engaged after to verify their metadata and start kicking off the ETL jobs. Our first normal ETL run into the Monday, our first day of the week, we completely exceeded our SLAs. We came in at 6:30 in the morning, which is a huge improvement on our ETL times on premise. Over the next week then, our DR site, we followed a staged approach where we would slowly start adding more data onto the DR site. We kept the production system up and running at this time, just in case something were to happen, there was always a chance to fall back. The DR site now holds and pretty much the same data as on-premise, which supports our RTO and RPO timings. Along with that, we're now taking backups consistently in the cloud for both production and DR. The backups now take about an hour for a full system backup, where before on-prem with the tape drives, assuming that they were working at the time, they could take over 8 hours easily. So there's no constraints on production or backup storage, so both can be expanded when needed, which is one of the things we lacked on-prem. If we needed to increase our backup storage or production storage, it was a big case of trying to plan time of getting an engineer out and actually physically adding that storage to the system. So on top of that, it's not where we're stopping there. We are looking at other modernization efforts. So we're looking at how we can benefit from more things in the cloud. So looking at store data based on our SLAs. We're going to share data across applications, support more deployment options, and consolidation of applications in progress. So some of these we've already started doing. So we've got Teradata Vantage, which is sitting on GCP, but Admiral also has its own GCP platform. And more recently, we've connected the two together. We've started to test and transfer data across and between the two systems. And that's been quite successful. So we're in the process now of productionizing that. The other option we're looking at is Query Grid. So we can avoid replicating data. We can push queries down to minimize the data movement, so we're not moving data across too much. And the other thing that we're looking at, which is quite exciting, is to move some workloads off onto DR. So we kind of free up production more so we're not impacting our reporting or anything like that. And we can push those over to DR. And we can use Teradata's data mover, which we use to sync the two production sites. So we can push them back and forth so the data's there when we need it. So I want to start you with this quote as well. We are a technology company that sells insurance. So we've been using all this exciting new technology in collaboration with Teradata to increase and better our pricing models, which means that we can allow our agents to have the data they need when they need it, which means we're always staying one step ahead of our competition. With Teradata's help, we've now got a system that is really secure, it's reliable and efficient, with some new functionality that Susan mentioned earlier. Thank you, and thank you for listening to our Admiral journey.
So thank you very much. Are there any questions for Susan, Sean, or Vicky?
Hi, Susan, what do you think your use cases will be from an insurance business perspective as opposed to the technical stuff?
So I think the data that we can provide now for our agents is a lot quicker. It allows us to do pricing modeling a lot faster. It means that we can do new product, which is something that was always quite a lengthy process. I'm sure as anyone knows, you know, when you're embarking on a new product in whatever industry it is, but especially in insurance, you've got to make sure that that data is right. You've got to make sure that it is right for the customers. So, yeah, those are kind of our use cases when it comes to new products and the data that we've got now, which is there readily available. Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions? No. Okay. So Susan, I've got one for you if you don't mind.
Yeah,
so you talked a bit about the DBA managed service, which is great.
Yeah.
Were there any lessons learned from using that you weren't expecting to see?
It was actually really, really good. So it wasn't something that we thought of straight away. We did have 3 DBAs within our team, 2 left us, unfortunately. You go to market prior to COVID, and you know it was quite easy to get replacements. But since COVID hit, I'm sure as all of you know, it's that market. Are you okay? Yeah. The market of recruitment is so vast now. Trying to get the right skills, especially when it comes to Teradata, isn't easy. So utilising the managed system, the managed service that we could get, meant that we got 2 really good DBAs, senior and a junior. It allows Sean to focus on new products, other technologies. You know, it helps him to learn skills, new skills. But not only that, by having the managed service, those guys have really fitted in well to the Admiral culture. So Admiral's culture is quite unique. You know, our motto is, if you like what you do, people do it better. And we like to have fun. So to fit into our culture was also a big deal to us. These guys, it's like they've been with us for years. Yeah.
Cool.
There you go.
And Sean, the DR system, have you actually done a DR test, failover test on it?
Yeah, so when we were setting up and going through actually moving towards Vantage, we did some DR tests then. More recently, the DR came in quite handy. One of our ETL tools, the scheduling on it, something, don't really know what happened, but potential, like something happened with the data and it couldn't schedule the jobs properly. We were able to use DR, log in with that ETL onto DR, run some tests, everything worked fine on there. So we knew there was something slightly wrong with the production side of things. So we were able to, with the new functionality recently that Teradata brought out, using some cross-site backups. So we took a backup of the DR side, transferred it over to production, which was really quick. We wouldn't have been able to do that on-prem. And after that, yeah, everything was fine. It was, yeah, no issues at all.
Cool. I think it's been oh, go on then, Antonio.
So, hello. It's still about DR, and excuse me if I missed it, but are you running the DR environment on the cloud or?
Yeah, so both systems are on the cloud, both
Okay.
On GCP.
Okay. Another question about the overall architecture. I saw that you probably running ETL on Informatica Power Center. Is that?
So when we were on-prem, we were using Informatica.
Yeah. And you are keeping those on-prem?
So Informatica we had to get rid of because we were using an old version.
Okay.
So we had to get rid of that before we moved. So we had to upgrade the database version on-prem before we moved over, which unfortunately Informatica wasn't compatible. So we had to, that was one of the kind of prerequisites, was to get rid of that first.
Okay. If you would say how much of your data sources for the ETL are still on-prem?
Sorry, could you repeat the
How
question?
much of your data sources that you are pumping up to Teradata are still on-prem?
So our source systems now are in the cloud. There's a few, I believe, on-prem, but the majority are sitting in the cloud as well.
Okay, great. Still, one last question. Sorry for taking over your mic. About the DR environment, what about the sizing of it? Is it just a clone of the production environment in terms of sizing?
So space is the same. There's slightly down on
Compute.
but yeah, they're fairly similar.
Okay, thank you. I think it's all.
Any other questions? Oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm intrigued by the software upgrade process for when you're using software as a service. It was a question that I asked in the earlier Vodafone session, but they hadn't actually done a software upgrade since they moved into GCP. Teradata obviously do the RDBMS upgrade, but to what extent do you have to manage everything else around that? So TTU, interfacing servers that use TTU, the test approach that's taken to test. Clearly the software is okay, Teradata are taking care of that, but your applications run okay under that software. How does that work?
So that usually comes from me. I'll engage with our ETL teams, our reporting guys, and say that. So I suppose the best example is when we needed to upgrade those TTUs, it work in a similar way now, even though we're on the cloud, is that I'll engage with those teams, because a lot of those kind of, the ETL tools are still sitting on an on-prem server. That's where they're running. So I'd engage with them. We'd just run things on the QA environment first, test into QA, because we've moved QA to Vantage as well now. So it would be a case of me reaching out to those teams and just installing it with them, and then testing those against QA before we move it to production.
Hi, how are you? In terms of, you mentioned that you to take Informatica out, so I was just wondering how big a job was it in terms of then setting up for the migration, and then was that dealing with things like data lineage for you, and if so, did you have an alternative way of dealing with that once you replaced it?
So I think it was a fairly big job moving Informatica off. It was one of the things that did delay us a few months. But we have an existing tool already. We'd already started moving stuff off Informatica jobs into Warescape. So it was kind of just more following that process to move these final larger jobs just off of Informatica onto Warescape.
And sorry, did you have any real-time jobs operating on the environment before migration, or have you have you subsequently added any?
No, we're not doing any streaming. It's all mainly batch processing overnight. There are some intraday jobs that run, but yeah, no, I'd say no real-time jobs.
I won't ask about cost generally, because that's probably commercially sensitive, but have you changed the way in which you cost transfer within the business as a result of the on-prem to Google Cloud migration?
I think that's one for you, Susan. Sorry.
No, we haven't. So we don't cross-charge to departments at the moment.
Do you plan to?
It is something that we're going to consider doing, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Cool. So one last question for yourselves, really. So what's exciting you now about your next modernisation step? What's going to be your next thing that you're going for?
I think this project we got ongoing at the moment to link our existing GCP platform with Teradata, kind of just to enable new products, new reports, things like that. that at the moment I think is quite exciting for us.
Cool. Any last questions before we wrap up? No. Well, thank you very much. And please fill the survey
One
in.
at the front.
Oh, hang on. Whoa, one just snuck in
Oh,
there.
just snuck in.
Last one.
He nearly went.
Sorry, last one. Little bit technical. Are you satisfied with the migration from Informatica to Wordscape? We did one of example that is not a good idea, and they did the migration back to Informatica. That's why I'm asking.
Sorry, could you repeat that, please? I didn't
Okay,
quite
okay, sorry. How you are satisfied with the Wordscape replacing the Informatica?
So we had Wordscape already existing, so we were running Wordscape jobs for quite a while, for several years before we moved the last few jobs off of Informatica. So we were quite well versed in kind of moving stuff off. We were kind of dual running, if you like. There were still some jobs running on Informatica, but the final nail for Informatica was it just wasn't compatible with those TTUs, so we just had to get rid of it.
Okay, thank you.
Going once, going twice. Great. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.